What's up, everybody? I recently went to New York, and every time that you go to New York City, guess what happens? You get a ticket in the mail. Now, this is from the Department of Finance Parking Bureau's Red Light Violation Monitoring Program. Now, one of our subscribers said that while we were in New York, I passed a school bus, and for doing that in New York City, the buses have cameras, and the actual school bus could have given me a ticket. I also blew a red light by turning right on red, which is illegal in New York City. And I also sped near, I think it's called, on the way to Coney Island, I think it's called Queens Parkway or something, whatever. Let's see which one of those possibilities it is, because every time you go to New York City, you end up with a ticket in the mail for some type of traffic violation. Now, New York has one of the safest roadways in the country. The New York highway mortality rate is 5.8 out of 100,000. States like Mississippi is about 5 times higher than that. So despite the fact you get a lot of tickets in New York, the roadways are actually the safest among the safest in the country. And so just keep that in mind, that every year a few hundred people's lives are saved by these tickets, making New York's roads the safest in the country. So while it is unfortunate to get a ticket in the mail, it does serve the purpose of saving thousands of lives every few years. So could it be a toll? It's a fine. It's a fine, but it's not a ridiculous amount. Let's see how much it's for. It is for $50, and they have a picture of my car. I was going 37 in a 25. Now, how is this a 25? I really don't understand, because it's a 3-lane highway. So, they have a color photo of my vehicle. The location is Queens Boulevard, where I told you, okay, so I already knew what it was. I was right, it was on Queens Boulevard. On Queens Boulevard in 72nd. The speed limit is 25, and I was going 37. Now, what's crazy about this is that I noticed that I was speeding for a second, excuse me, and I slowed down. But what's crazy about this situation, it's a school zone, that's why. Okay, it's a school zone. So you have to go slower. Now, it says the city of New York versus Jose Rodriguez. It's like me versus them. I guess we just have to pay a $50 fine. And they do have a color photo of my vehicle. And I'll show you guys that in a minute here. They do have a color photo of my vehicle, my license plate, speeding. But there's no reason to even have this photo of my vehicle speeding. I could tell them that there's a photo, but who's driving this vehicle? Could it be me? Could it be Katie? I know it was me because I was driving. We have it on video when I drove through here. But regardless, it's interesting that the ticket's under my name. How do I know it wasn't Katie that was driving? But there it is, $50 fine. This is what happens every time that you go to New York City. So next time that you find yourself surrounded by these guys right here in New York City, just keep in mind that if you were to drive faster than the posted speed limit, you will in fact get a ticket. $50 for speeding in a school zone. All the school zones have cameras. All the school buses in New York City have cameras. So if you were to drive past a school bus, I guess a school bus driver has the ability to get you a ticket. I've seen here in Florida all the time. We've actually done videos where we've seen this happen, where in the state of Florida, people just fly past the school bus stops and don't respect them. Well, in New York City, if you do that, the school bus itself has cameras, and the school bus can give you a ticket. Now, a lot of people complain that this is just a way for the cities to get more money out of you. But I will let you know, on the flip side of that, that New York has some of the safest roadways in the country. Like I said, states like Mississippi, you're 5 times more likely per capita to die on their roadways. New York has country roads as well. It's not just New York City. There are a lot of country roads in New York. Regardless, even the miles traveled will show you that New York roads are safer. But at the end of the day, well, it sucks to pay a ticket for speeding through a school zone. The fact remains that nobody likes to pay tickets. I don't want to pay a ticket. But if you're traveling to New York City, Denver, Colorado, New Jersey, there's a few places where you know if you speed, if you take a turn where you're not supposed to, or if you break the law while driving, you'll get a ticket. And what's interesting is that while in New York City, this was the only instance that I was in the city at all. The only instance where I sped in New York City was in this little clip right here, and that's all it took to get a ticket. They have done a great job of making sure their state is safe. And while I don't agree with paying New York, I will say their roads are safer than any other state analytically. And it raises a good question of how, some people call it, an overreach of law, but at the same time, they are saving every 2 to 3 years, 1,000 lives are saved in the state of New York because of their approach to traffic laws. So another thing that I found ridiculously interesting is that the murder rate in New York State is about what their road mortality rate is, and in Mississippi, their murder rate is exactly what their road mortality rate is of 20, about 5 or 6 in New York on the roads and on murder, and about 20 in Mississippi for road accidents and murders, which means that you are roughly in the state of New York and Mississippi have the same chances of being murdered as you are to die from a car accident. The fact that these numbers correlate would seriously suggest to me that laws, whether on criminal side or on the road side, the laws that states implement really do have an effect on saving lives. And while it's inconvenient to get a ticket, analytically it can easily be proven that these kind of ridiculous laws in states like New York do save thousands of lives every year, whether we like paying a ticket or not. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you hit the like and let me hear your thoughts and opinions.